Hi, everybody. Bill Huddleston back along with the coach of the Ruffers, Josh Blankenship, your guest here on Muskogee Ruffer TV. We talk all things Ruffer football. And Josh, hard to believe, but not only has the season started, game one is in the books.
1 week down and hopefully
13 more to go?
That's exactly what I was going to say. At least this year. Next year might be a little less than that, one less.
Yeah, one less. And of course, that refers to the change in Class 6A classifications and the district assignments, but that is next year. Let's talk about the 2013 season. Ruffers go on the road against a very talented Sand Springs club.
Sand Springs was everything we thought they would be. You know, we played them last year and battled over with them at our place last year. They returned virtually every starter on both sides of the ball, and they were what they were advertised to be. I was really proud of how we battled, and going into the fourth quarter, right there at the end of the third, we're down 20-14, and if we can go score and hit our PAT, then we're going up 21-20, and unfortunately we turn the ball over in their territory, and that's when they kind of take over from there.
You talked to your players last week, and even the one we'll talk to a little bit later on our show, Bryson Bell. They still remember the two words you said: turnovers and special teams.
Traditionally, really not even traditionally, just history will show you, first games of the season from NFL, college to high school are going to be determined by how sound you are in the kicking game, and then turnovers. And while we were pretty opportunistic in getting some turnovers defensively, we had our own, and on the wrong end of the field.
Right.
And that's going to cost you every time, but especially in that first game, it really proves to be true.
So the Ruffers come up on the short end of the stick against Sand Springs in week number one. A little later in our program, we'll preview this Friday night's game, another road trip for the Ruffers. I don't know who was in charge of the schedule, not me. But anyway, weeks one and weeks two both go on the road. Ruffers will travel to Owasso this Friday night. We'll talk more about that later on. But when we come back, we'll take a look at some of the highlights from last week's week one contest against Sand Springs. That when Muskogee Ruffer football continues here on TV 15. Back on TV 15, Bill Huddleston along with the coach of the Ruffers, Josh Blankenship. Josh, a lot of people may look at the score and say, where are there silver linings behind these thunderclouds? But there were some highlights in last week's game.
You know, we really played a lot of good football for about 3 quarters, honestly. And while that's not going to win a game, you got to play 4 quarters. There were a lot of good things we did on the offensive side of the ball, especially at the quarterback and receiver position. And then defensively, I believe we produced 4 turnovers, which you've got to then take advantage of those as an offense when your defense gives you those opportunities. We played a lot of good football. We were very sound in the special teams, which we had part of that formula there to win that first game taken care of. We were solid there, no mistakes in the special teams. So we played a lot of good football, not good enough to beat a quality opponent like Sand Springs.
Well, let's go to our video monitor and take a look at some of the highlights of last Friday night's ball game. Here we'll see the Ruffers coming out of the big Ruffer dog. Kind of nice to see a new barking face as the team comes on the field.
Bush Club wanted to do something different, and they got that big Ruffer dog to run out of, and I think the kids kind of liked it.
Opening kick, Tyreek Beasley is going to bounce it off the turf, but then pick it up and get it back upfield for a nice little 25-yard squirt up to about the 32. Then we'll see Bryson Bell make a nice catch and fight for some extra yards after the grab. Then here's Sammy Richardson out of the running game picking up about 15. And once again, it'll be Quintaj Cherry, a little pump and go route, and there's Double B going up the sideline.
Great throw and catch, especially on one of their best safeties there.
Defensively, there were some big sticks too. Here's Chris Beasley.
And that's he's wrapping him up on a screen there after Sammy makes a big blow on their stud receiver running out in the flats.
See the Ruffers were in an early first quarter hole, 14-0, but then take advantage of one of the turnovers, 4 by Sand Springs in that opening half. Josh Medrano getting the recovery. Now once again it'll be Q hooking up with, I think it was his favorite receiver Friday night, Bryson Bell.
Bryson had a big night, very productive.
Ruffers again here, strip the ball out, it bounces on the turf, and there's nothing but white shirts to pounce on top of the pigskin. Then we'll see one of the new additions.
Jairus Van Hook moved here from Tulsa McLean. We were able to get him cleared to play, and those are the plays we expect to see from him.
That little motion here out of the formation, throw it back over to Bryson. Now watch the stop, get a good upfield block, cut it to the boundary, and just didn't quite have enough air in the lungs maybe to get it to the end zone.
You know what? Great 2-minute offense there before the half. Our lineman out on that screen there was great execution.
Little pitch here to Sammy Richardson with Mackenzie McCall kind of screening off people up, getting into the end zone for the 2-yard run. Halftime score is 14-7. Ruffers came back and actually tied it up 14-all. Here we're going to see Quintage again passing in the flat. This time it'll be Gerard Jones making the catch over on the Ruffer sideline.
Great second effort to get the first down there.
And then here shows you kind of the creativeness of Q.
And watch this block. Boom, right there by Anthony King.
Big block, and just literally took the guy right out of the play. Of course, those were just a few of the plays that gave Ruffer fans plenty to cheer about. And when the night was all said and done, no, it wasn't a victory, but I think that gave you the building blocks to prepare for week number 2 and the rest of the year.
Well, I hope so. You know, we had one of our goals was to beat Sand Springs just because of the momentum it could have given us. They're not meaningless games, but they are non-district games, and they don't impact your postseason play. But we still want to put value on it, and we thought if we could get that done, it would really springboard us into our season. Didn't happen, so that's our reality. So we've got 2 more preseason games to go compete and make sure we're ready to go for district play, because the next goal on our board is to get into the playoffs, and that's going to happen in district play.
Of course, immediately the words I heard from all the players is on to the next one.
Next game.
Forget about what happened last Friday night, learn from it, and go on. One of the guys that I think learned a good lesson or two and also had some big moments in last Friday night's ball game against Sand Springs. We already called his name many times in those plays that you just watched. Bryson Bell, a name familiar to Ruffer football fans. We'll talk with Bryson Bell when we come back on the other side of the break. You're watching Muskogee Ruffer football here on TV 15. Welcome back here on TV 15. This segment each and every week, Josh, we visit with one of the members of the football squad, appropriately titled Champion of the Week.
It's ironic that, or coincidental that it worked out with his play on the field this week, but that's really not what this thing is about right here. We call it the Champion of the Week because the way we define a champion is someone that is striving for excellence in all areas of their life, not just on the football field. He did have an exceptional game, but he's here because of what he is off the field, what he is in the classroom, what he is in the community, and I don't think we could start off the season with a better Champion of the Week than with Bryson Bell.
Bryson Bell, you saw many of the highlights earlier on in our show, and Bryce and I talked with you before we came on the show here today about your favorite class here at Muskogee High School. You tell me that is Spanish?
Yes.
¿Cómo se llama, señor?
Me llamo Bryson Bell.
Also known to his teammates in the Spanish room, at least, as Paco?
Yes.
All right. Now, Bryson, as Coach mentioned, is the champion on and off the field, and his name, Bryson Bell, very familiar to some of us old-time Ruffer fans. You still talk with Uncle Glenn?
Yeah. I was with him this weekend, actually.
What things do you guys talk about as it relates to football, and are you able to take some of the things he says to you and apply them to your own individual efforts?
Yes, the main thing is education first. You have to have your grades and then football. And, well, you have to have your priorities straight.
Now, that's, of course, fits into the mold of being a champion of a week. And you talk about being a champion, and I know everybody that wore the green and white last Friday night and this week and weeks to come always wants to win on the field. But how do you apply your own abilities and set your goals to be a champion off the field, whether it's in the classroom or, as Coach said, in the community?
I make sure that I turn in all my assignments and on time. And in the community, I just be polite to other people, try to be uncommon.
Trying to be uncommon and being a little bit different, being that role model, and certainly he did it last week, Josh, with his play on the field. He's exemplifying that in the classroom at Muskogee High School as well as in the locker room amongst his teammates. And as people get to know this young man, I don't think we've heard the last of number 19.
No, and it's no coincidence that because of who he is all the time, it shows up on the field. He's one of our best warriors. I mean, just battles from beginning of the game to the end of the game, and then when he produces, it's not a surprise.
So what things are you looking forward this Friday night against Owasso?
A win. I'm just excited about this next game.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll be looking forward to that same excitement, and Coach Blankenship's, I'm sure, the same way, anticipating Friday night's kickoff. We'll get a preview of this week's Week 2 game against Owasso. That when we continue this edition of Muskogee Rougher Football here on TV 15. Welcome back here on TV 15. Bill Huddleston along with the coach of the Ruffers, Josh Blankenship. Always great to see a young man like Bryson Bell doing the things that he does, not only on the field but off the field. But now this group of 2013 Ruffers have to put all the pieces back together and go play a very good Owasso football team.
Very good Owasso team, very big. All their receivers are 6'2", 6'3", 6'4". They've got a couple of fullbacks that are 6'4". O-line's huge, D-line's big, very athletic. Typical what you're going to see at those bigger schools football teams. We got an opportunity that we don't get a whole lot of opportunities to go play teams of that caliber, and we're going to see how many of them we can take out.
Owasso Rams are the opponent for the Ruffers this Friday night. Kickoff this week, unlike last, will be at the traditional 7:30 starting time. Our pregame show for our broadcast, whether it's online at rufferfootball.com, where you can listen to myself do the play-by-play along with watch the game in person on the computer screen, or you can tune in on 100.3 FM. Our pregame show will start at 7. Kickoff time Friday night from Owasso is set for 7:30. All I got to say is, Josh, go win, brother.
Let's do it.
We'll hope to see how the Ruffers fare against Owasso this Friday night, and we'll talk more Ruffer football this time next week when we come back with more here on TV 15.